So I hope you all had a lovely weekend. I mean, why wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? We picked up 3 points, kept another clean sheet. I've been thinking about this. Arne Slot has played, I think, 6 games now as Liverpool head coach, 6 competitive games, won 5, lost 1, scored 13, conceded 2 over the course of the Champions League and the Premier League games. That's not too shabby. I'm pretty happy with life as a Liverpool fan now. Putting aside our Liverpool allegiances or whatever, that game earlier on was a really good Premier League game, wasn't it? I mean, yes, Arsenal had to sit in and defend in the second half, but it had everything that you would have wanted in an advert for the Premier League. The good, the bad, the ugly, the refereeing decisions, everything you would expect from a massive Premier League game. If you're an Arsenal fan right now, and I've been exchanging a few messages with my mate Lee Gunner as well, you know, you'd feel optimistic, you'd feel heartbroken, you'd feel proud, you'd feel frustrated. It was interesting, and a result that probably helps us, certainly, makes us make sure that we're second place in the league table as we sit. If you're Arsenal, you'll take a lot of heart from it. If you're Man City, you'll say at least we didn't lose. Haaland scored his 100th as well for Manchester City. I guess it'll all come down to how people interpret the consistency of Michael Oliver's decision making around Leandro Trossard's second yellow card. So yeah, look, loads to go through as I mentioned. Just a good advert though, all in for the Premier League. You know, you can't blame Arsenal for time wasting and using the dark arts. I mean, if Liverpool were in the same position, let's be honest, we'd want Liverpool dropping down, killing time, feigning injuries, everything that you need to do to manage the clock and make sure that you don't give City a chance to get into a rhythm. The ref was a clown, said Rachel. You can understand the frustrations, right? When you see Trossard getting the yellow for kicking the ball away. And then the first half was a Doku, I think, did the same thing. Now, the only thing I can say is, and again, I'm not a referee, so I don't know. I wonder, for Trossard, was it a culmination of the fact he was on a yellow? He also jumped in to foul the player and then kind of booted the ball away. So I wonder, was it a culmination of both of those things? Were they two like half yellow cards? Or I don't know. But it definitely had a massive impact on the game. But you got to give Arsenal their flowers as well. You know, to go there to the Etihad and their set pieces. Wow. You know, I'm not a hater. I enjoy good football and I give credit where it's due. I thought Arsenal from set pieces were top notch. Gabriel 33-1, by the way, if you got on that with Sky for Gabriel header 2 weeks in a row. I thought it was a great advert for the Premier League, and I thought it showed us that it is going to be a tough, grueling campaign where every single match, every point is going to count. Rodri coming off made a big difference. Look, he is probably the best defensive midfielder in the world. Any team would miss somebody of the calibre of Rodri if he went off. Yeah, no argument about it. I just thought it was an interesting afternoon watching it as a neutral, watching the game. I thought you could see the good of both teams, you could see the bad of both teams, and of course you could see the inconsistency of Premier League refereeing. Fab Gone said, will Arne struggle with low blocks this season? The early indications look like it's still going to be an issue for us, mate. You know, the low blocks. It's kind of been our Achilles heel for a long time, hasn't it? I hope it doesn't become a problem. But look, you even seen Man City today against 10 men at home the entire second half, and they struggled to really create chances. Raya made 1 or 2 decent saves, but it was right in the 98th minute before they forced the equaliser. It's hard, you know, it is difficult to play against low blocks. You do have to move the ball quicker, you have to create overloads, or you're reliant on a moment of magic or a set piece. So yeah, there's nothing to show yet that we've figured out a low block. I think it's fair. We can't compete even though we had an okay run so far without additions. We'll come up short. We will definitely come up with issues because of the lack of squad depth. No doubt about that. You know, I'm not saying we're not going to win anything because, of course, there's every opportunity we win something this season. But I would say, once again, that would be in spite of the cheapness of John W. Henry and FSG rather than because of the cheapness of John W. Henry and FSG, who are cheap. That's my new thing now. I'm just going to keep saying that so people can't have a go at me for being whatever they want. They can't call me an FSG out lunatic. All I'm going to keep saying is, where's the money, John? And can you stop being cheap? If Arsenal had won, City would have been third, by the way. City weren't that impressive. They started the game really well. In the first 10 or 15 minutes, I actually thought City were going to steamroller Arsenal. Haaland scored a very good goal, and Arsenal had to dig in. They did. they seen it out, and then they went out and they scored 2 goals. Leandro Trossard, he's going to be very unhappy with himself, and you're certainly going to be frustrated if you're his teammate, because we don't know how that game would have gone in the second half. But a point for us as Liverpool fans, probably the best result. And it certainly makes it interesting now. With Manchester City top of the league, 1 point clear of us, and what are we now clear of Arsenal? 1 point clear of Arsenal. Is it 1? I haven't actually checked. It's 1 or 2. I think it's 1. Yeah, interesting. Rodri off means trouble for City. It does. You know, any team in the world loses Rodri, you're gonna. You have no Rodri, no De Bruyne there today as well. So yes, 1 point as I mentioned. So only 2 points separating the top 3 teams. And then of course, you know, we have to speak about the likes of Brighton, who started the season well. Forest, who are still unbeaten after 6 games. I think it's 5 games. Excuse me. I think it's 2 wins, 3 draws, or something like that now for Forest after their 2-2 draw with Brighton. Eli Wood said, if Gravenberch gets injured, we're fooped. Yes, we are. I know people will start to type in the word Endo and all, but look, I can only repeat what I've said many times. Endo doesn't play the position in the way Arne Slot likes it to be played, so it would again be a square peg in a round hole. So yes, I agree. We are 1 injury away from... We're either a Virgil van Dijk injury or a Gravenberch injury away from a crisis, yet again. Do you have any concern so far this season about how we play under Slot? It's a good question. My real concern, I think it's too early to make a judgment on a bigger sample size of what we will do with Arne Slot. It's very positive, I have to say. I've liked how he's handled himself. My concern is around the depth of the squad, which isn't necessarily down to the manager. So that's my worry. I feel if we had have got Zubimendi in, if we had another centre-back, I think I would certainly put us right up there with City and Arsenal as being justifiable title contenders. Now I feel like things have to go right for us. We have to be lucky with injuries to be in the title race. So, you know, all opening signs of Arne Slot really positive, but it's too early to really make any long-term judgments. I was really hoping with some new ideas we'd be able to break down the low block. It's not as simple as one... I don't think, anyway, Joe. I don't think it's as simple as a manager coming in that says, do this, and you beat a team with a low block. I think the players know what they should be doing, but when you have 10 outfield players inside a penalty area or very narrow, giving you the wide areas, you're reliant on a couple of things. A cross getting right into the head or into the area of one of your strikers who's in a bit of space, a worldie from somewhere, or to create those overloads. And that's what I feel we don't do at times, is move the ball quick enough from side to side when we're playing against a team with a low block to try and force the issue. And it really galls me actually when we're playing a team with a low block and we're pumping balls into the box and we've Jota in there through the centre. Now Jota's good aerially, but he's still a small man. I would prefer if we had the likes of Darwin or somebody in there in those situations. But yeah, I just don't think that there's a manager that'll come in and go, do this, and all of a sudden you've solved the low block. You know, it's difficult when a team is digging in, defending, and they start getting confident, you know. Get to half time, get to 60. You set all these little targets in your head, don't you, if you're a player. Get to half time, get to 60 minutes, and then your confidence builds, and you hope for fatigue, you hope for a change off the bench. It's difficult. It's always going to be difficult. Man City today struggled to break down Arsenal when they sat behind the ball, and they had an extra man. Joseph said, do you think playing a mid-block could be an answer in defence, maybe taking inspiration from Atalanta and their man marking? Maybe. I think it's just about doing the right things and keep believing and not getting desperate and not resorting to Hail Mary options. Just keep trying to do the right things over and over. As Arne Slot keeps saying to them, wait until the right pass is on, make that right pass, and just make it a habit to always look for the right thing. Take ownership of a situation. Tony said, look at Arsenal today. Their low block was hard for City to crack. You need either a bit of magic or a mistake. Yeah, and they were against a 10-man team, Tony, as well. So Man City had the opportunity to create overloads there, and they didn't move the ball quick enough either. You know, and I think Jamie Carragher made a really good point actually on comms in the game. The amount of times that Ruben Diaz was on the edge of the penalty area taking shots for City, when, why not drop somebody like Foden to the edge of the box or Gundogan? I thought that was a really good point made by Jamie Carragher. You're giving the ball to your centre back in those positions, 18, 20 yards out, and backing him to have a crack.